Hey everybody, welcome back to PhotoRec.tv. I'm Toby, and in today's Monday Minute, I'm going to show you, no, I'm going to convince you how ridiculously easy it is to get big, beautiful prints on your wall. All right, I'm going to lay this out very easily, very simply. Step one, I want to know the dimensions, the crop dimensions of this image. Lightroom will show you that. View Options, Command J or Alt J on Windows. Click Show Info Overlay, and under Loop Info 1, the bottom option is Cropped Dimensions. There's a lot of other things here, but that's exactly what we want to see. So now that's displayed, the file name, the date it was captured, and the crop dimensions. Pressing the I key cycles through the two different overlays and turns it off, and then back to the one I want. The next thing that I want or need you to do is to crop it to the aspect ratio that works for the print you're going to purchase. So let's say you want an 8 by 10. You come here to the cropping tool, you go to the aspect, and you pick 8 by 10 right here. You see that's what I had already chosen. That works best for this image. There's not much going on up there. It's just redundancy down there. So I like an 8 by 10. You should pick the aspect ratio that works best to tell your story. Or if somebody bought you a frame and says, I want you to fill this 16 by 20 with a beautiful image, then you crop to that. You say, well, look over here, there's no 16 by 20. Those of you who are good at math say, well, 16 by 20 is the same as an 8 by 10. It's just 8 by 10 is reduced. But let's say you're not very good at math, or you don't want to rely on the possibility of making a mistake. Just come here to Enter Custom and type in whatever you're going to print that ratio at. 16 by 20. Yes, as I said, it's the same. Let's do something different so we see it move. Let's do a 16 by 24. And we say, okay, there's a 16 by 24. It's a little bit more narrow. So now I have to decide exactly where that's going to be. And you say, well, what are we working in inches over here? Are we working in centimeters, picometers? It doesn't matter. This is the ratio. It doesn't matter the units. And I always just come here and put in the custom crop that I'm doing, unless I see it listed above or below. Now, it's important to do that because when you hand it off to the print house, if you choose an aspect ratio to print that is different than what you provide them, they're going to make choices about where to crop. And some places are quite good about that, but you never want to rely on somebody else to make that decision for you. Let's take another quick look at this image right here that I recently sent off to Bay Photo for printing. This, I wanted a 16 by 20, so it's already been cropped to a 16 by 20, just like so. So you can see that that fits perfectly. If I chose something like a 5 by 7, you can see that that really changes the story. I'm chopping off just the tip top of the tree now. A hoof is about to be chopped, so I could go this way or go this way. Neither of them are very good. So for me, that 8 by 10 or that 16 by 20 ratio is what really works best for this story. Now, I have cropped some of it from its original. There was left and right content that you saw before I brought it into Photoshop and back. Its dimensions currently are 4,800 by 3,800. And that's about 18 megapixels. You multiply these two things times each other and you get about 18 million, which is 18 megapixels. So how large can I print this? Do I know for sure that I can get a big, beautiful 16 by 20 image out of this? Yes. And I'll show you exactly how to figure that out in just a second. But let me say this first. If you haven't done serious cropping, if you haven't cropped it to crap, and you have a modern camera, you can certainly get nice 16 by 20s, 24 by 30s, and even on up into the 30 to 40 range without really stressing or worrying whether or not your print is going to look good. Let me show you how to figure all of that out very quickly and very easily. So there's a couple of different websites to go to, but we're going to start one at photorec.tv. We've got an article up, How Big Can I Print That? And it's got some information on it. But Bay Photo has a nice little section. They like to print at 250 DPI. And for you to hit that number, a 16 by 20 should be 4,000 by 5,000. Now, if we bring this down over here, you can see that I'm 5,000 by 4,000. I'm right there on that number, just a little bit below it. Look over here though, the minimum to yield good, 1,200 by 1,500. I'm way above that. Easy peasy. If I want to know exactly what DPI this will come out at, I can go over here to scantips.com. They got a nice little calculator, 16 by 20. Now you do put in the units. At what resolution? Well, let's say 300, right? 300 is museum quality, absolutely perfect, and I compute, and that's where it comes up with that 4,800 by 6,000. Well, that's not quite what I'm able to achieve. If we say 240 resolution, there we are. We're hitting it perfectly. And anywhere from basically 200 to 300. Mid 200s is best. Above that, you're really not going to see a big difference in prints. Below that, you start to have to really go below that before you're going to see a noticeable difference in prints. And here's the other thing. Think about when you're printing a 4x6 or an 8x10. You look at them fairly closely. You know, you hold a 4x6 in your hand and you look at it. An 8x10 is sitting on a desk in front of you. You look at it from a foot or two away. But when we get up to a 16x20, do you put your nose a foot away from that 16x20? No, it's on the wall. You step back from it. And you'll be back a couple of feet. Then that's how you can get away with lower DPIs. Think of the billboards. The billboards are well below 100 DPI. But you're never viewing a billboard closer than hundreds of feet. So 240 is just fine. I could even go down to 200, and then it tells me that 3,200 by 4,000, so down to 12 megapixels. That's it. All right, so I need to get this out of Lightroom so it's ready to go. File, export. I have a 4-print preset set up, but I'm just going to walk through those real quick with you. Let's put it on the desktop in a subfolder called to print. That sounds good. Rename, file name stays the same, sure. File settings, a JPEG, quality 100. Some print houses will take TIFFs. If this is the most beautiful picture you've ever done in your life and you've got good internet, go ahead and send them a TIFF. I've always sent JPEGs and I've been very happy. Color space, sRGB. Resize to fit, nope, we don't need to do anything here. DPI or resolution, pixels per inch or pixels per centimeter, doesn't matter what you put in this box. You have cropped this to the aspect ratio, and now you are going to send them as large a print as you still have after you're cropping to the aspect ratio. So none of this matters. Sharpen for this, you should come in each time and decide, are you printing it on matte paper or glossy paper? And then the amount I always do is low because I've already done some sharpening in Lightroom. And this time I'm going to print on matte. And that's it. So when I'm happy with that, I could add that as a print export, or I could just hit the export button. It's going to go off to my to print, and I have it set so it pops up on the screen. Now, I've already uploaded to Bayphoto to save us all lots of time. So I'm going to come here and say Photo Prints at Bayphoto. Here it is on their online ordering system. I'm just going to drag and drop it here. And you can see the aspect ratio is a vertical one currently, but when I drop it, Bayphoto is smart enough to say, I see that this is a wide image. And if I grab it and move it around, it doesn't move. The aspect ratio of 8x10 over here is the same as I've picked, but let me move it now to 16x20. You can see all of these different aspect ratios that they provide. Here's a 16x20. I still proved to myself it doesn't move around. What I see here is exactly what I'm going to get in the image. But for example, 16x24. Now notice that I can move it around within this frame, and I have to decide here on Bayphoto, what do I want to sacrifice, the sky or the bottom of the sheep? It's not too hard of a choice, but I really don't like the way this looks now. I liked that 16x20. That works for me. And I'm going to choose that matte paper because that's what I sharpened for. That's $22, and I'm ready to hit add to cart. I would love to see pictures of your beautiful pictures on the wall. So snap some of those, share them on Instagram stories or posts, and tag me. I'll reshare those. I'm looking forward to seeing them. And as always, press that thumbs up button if you found this useful, along with hitting subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. and clicking the little bell so you'll be notified of future videos. Thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.